Yeah, so I've got I think a couple weeks ago, you guys got a few calls actually about people being worried about coming out.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I actually recently came out, like a month ago.
Hey, welcome.
Congratulations.
Yeah. Well, and it's interesting because I didn't really come out. I was more dragged out and well, maybe not dragged out, but pushed out maybe. And it's actually kind of encouraging. So I wanted to share the story so that if anybody out there was feeling too worried about, what was going to happen after they came out or anything like that.
Yeah.
The only thing that we ask is that you try and be succinct with your description. We've had some people call in and ramble for a long time.
Yeah.
So we don't want to do that.
Yeah.
If we push you along, it's not you, it's that we do have a limited time frame. But in other ways, hit us with a story.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, so I'm not going to say how I came out because it's pretty damn typical. And I moved away, and we don't contact our family too much, too often. It's probably actually pretty bad. But I was worried about, the pretty typical things, because when you hear about what happens when people come out, you hear pretty negative things usually. You don't hear too many of the stories where people are very reasonable about it. And it's not that I was worried that my family was going to, ostracize me or anything, but I was more afraid that it would consume our relationship, where every single time we talked,
that would be all you'd talk about.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And because, I understand where they're coming from, where I'm a kid and they think that I'm going to go to hell. And I empathize with the fear.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was mainly just worried about hurting them in any way, if I say something, if they say something and it causes a rupture in the relationship.
Sure.
And my brother got married last month, so we came into town for the wedding. I was his best man. And there was a day before the wedding where my mom just walked into the room. I was, getting ready to leave. And she just said, "Hey, you don't have to tell us that you're going to church anymore.
Hey.
You know that you're not. It's pretty obvious, and we understand, and we really just want to know where you're at."
Wow.
Yeah, it was.
Your mom sounds awesome.
Yeah.
No, they are. They're wonderful people. And like I said, I wasn't worried about anything that they were going to do. I was worried what it was going to do to the relationship. Like, it's a weird difference of fears. Like, I have no feelings.
That is a mountainous difference.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, we get you, man. I'm right there with you.
So what happened next?
So yeah, that was when, I I went out with my wife and I said, well, I guess I'm out now. And past that point, there was a month before we saw them again. And that was a couple weeks ago, and which is why I didn't call in a month ago, because I was worried about a family get-together that we were having, because we were going to be in a cabin together for a week. So anything could happen. And I was preparing for any number of conversations that would be happening, any drama that might come up, because, while I was hopeful, I was trying to be as realistic as humanly possible.
Yeah.
And nothing happened. Everything felt exactly the same as it was before.
Mm-hmm.
They're very respectful about my beliefs and about what can happen. I think they know what can happen. This is a very emotionally charged topic. And by the end of the week, there wasn't a single conversation that happened over it. It was very heartening that this has not come between us at all. And I mean, it's only been a month and a half, but when you get people worried about coming out, I feel like it's good to know that they may already know. And
I agree.
they may have already prepared for it.
Yeah. If I can give you...
They may be cool with it.
Yeah, if I can give you one piece of advice from my life that's been helpful, mark the date. I don't know how much you like holidays. I like holidays, particularly when I make them for myself. But that's something that not a lot of people that have deconverted know or have at all. I know the exact 11 days that I thought about this and deconverted, and I don't know anyone else that knows the day that they were out or deconverted at all, actually, or that's marked it on their calendar.
Oh, so you mean the day that I came out officially?
I mean, maybe you don't like holidays, and that that's fine. You're wrong, but that's fine. No.
Hey, I get the day off.
I will say it's helpful. Yeah, it's an interesting anniversary to remember, and it's an important one. And what I will say is, there's probably going to be a lot of experiences like that. Like when I went to my nephew's baptism, one of the things that happened was afterwards, a lot of my relatives who knew, stopped by and went, "Oh wow, you were such a good sport," because I sat there and I stood when everyone else stood, and participated up to the point where they were saying, "We're going to support this person in their faith," because if someone comes to me with a question, I'm going to be honest and I'm going to tell them that, they should talk to their parents about that, because that's the role of parents in their life. But it's really interesting. We've talked about this a couple of times before, where people are like, "Oh my gosh, are you going to be offended that we want to pray?" And no. I'm happy to have a conversation with you about the efficacy of prayer if you would like to have it, but no, I'm not going to be offended that you pray. No. I don't belong to the Church of Atheism. You haven't offered me religious offense against something that I hold sacred, because I don't hold things sacred because that's a religious trope. I don't have that. Irreverence comes naturally when you don't look around and see anything, perhaps other than the quote-unquote sanctity, if for lack of a better word, than human life. So this coffee mug, though I like it, and this is an excellent show, and though Claire is still in the audience and is an excellent host, I don't think this is sacred. Yeah, it says, thank you. For our audio listeners, I'm holding up a Godless Bitches mug. Available with the rest of ACA swag. I don't hold it sacred, and if it shattered, I would feel guilty that I'd, ruined a perfectly good mug, but I wouldn't think of it as a sin or a fault on my character. I might think of it as an indication that I'm clumsy, but there isn't something sacred that I hold. And so I feel like that idea is something that's a real disconnect for people that still put an important place of religion in their life, because there's this entire category of things that must be treated entirely differently, and that it's the religious mindset and the superstitious thinking comes out really quickly, and you see it very easily if you live in Texas around sports, particularly football. Oh, this is the lucky jersey and you have to wear it every time. And oh, the last time that I was in the kitchen and that you were in the living room and I was getting a beer, they scored. So now I'm watching the rest of the game in the kitchen drinking beer and you're not allowed to move either, right? There's this idea of things that are sacred. And sure, it can be, fun from a psychological standpoint. Obviously, the dangerous part is when you believe that it's true, when you go, oh, I have these superstitious tendencies and they actually affect things. But I would say going forward, probably that lack of understanding may be the only thing that you bump into. But it kind of sounds like your family's awesome.
Sounds like you're kicking ass with that.
Even that didn't happen where they were, worried about catering to me or anything, which may be because, they've known for a while that I was, they probably knew that I was deconverting, or maybe because there were a few times, and this is part of the reason why I was so worried, where we had a conversation where she was like, look, do you believe in God? Because it's the most important thing ever. And I obviously would lie and say, yeah, of course. Well, it wasn't really a lie because I wasn't quite out of the woods yet. But I wasn't entirely, telling the truth either.
Yeah.
And there were tears where she would just say, okay, because it really is the most important thing ever. And that was what I was afraid of. Mm-hmm. So it's been a while where they know that I was kind of just, pretending. So it may be that they know that I can do that, so they're just not worried about it. I don't know.
I feel like it's interesting. There's always parallels between there's the parallels. Just they keep coming and they just don't stop between interacting with parents about being LGBTQ and interacting with parents about not believing what they believe.
Wait, you're gay?
I mean, I didn't say that.
Whoa. I don't know if...
Oh, shut up. All right.
Love you, Jamie.
But I know you do. You goofball. But what I will say is, like, for parents that have the idea that their child is gay, sometimes even before their child does, when their child eventually comes out or starts to spend an awful lot of time with one other friend that they like to hang out with all the time, and they're going to movies with this one other friend, but they're just friends, right?
Camping a lot. What?
Or camping a lot. Or sleeping over at their house a lot, or whatever it may be. The slow and gradual, like, okay, I have this understanding and I'm thinking about it before having to address it directly is certainly less shocking in the addressing it directly, right? Like if the possibility, is this possible, has occurred to someone first, it's a lot easier for them to go, not only is it possible, but it's true.
All right, and I'd actually like to jump in a little bit. So
I'll allow it.
Really?
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, I'm muting you. Okay, so the first thing is the advice that I'd have to give, even if it's not around your family, is if you do find somebody that wants to cater to you or is worried that you're going to be upset that they're praying, say, I respect your faith traditions. You know, that's cool. Do your thing. You know, I respect that you have your own faith tradition. That line has helped me so many times, I can't even tell you. But another thing, and one that I actually really, really, really want to underline, is for those of you who are watching, I know I've spoken to religious parents who watch and have seen this show because their kids look at the show. And this is a real thing. So if if anybody is watching this and needs that communication to their parent, they can be afraid of talking to you. You know, Jesse, this isn't just to you. This isn't to you. This is to religious parents watching. This is a real thing. And this is something that causes a lot of anxiety and stress and depression and hurt. And if it can be causing this in someone that you love. And so taking the time to understand, even if you don't agree, to recognize the humanity in your child, your loved one, right? That is a common theme on this show. People call because they're so worried they're going to lose you and other loved ones. And a lot of times we do. We do lose other people. We do lose our parents. We do lose our families, our best friends. We do lose our jobs. We lose our communities. And we have to try and build again. We try and create that for each other because we don't have that inbuilt system that we were given when we started. And so to those of you parents who are watching and you don't know how to talk to your child because you don't think that they believe, we need to know. Tell them. Tell them you love them because it doesn't matter what you believe. That's something that you can build on together. And even if you need to start a new relationship, even if you need to find a new square one, it's worth it. So you should do it. That's all I got to say.
Yeah, and I actually like to say because she actually might be listening because I told her that I listen to you guys.
Oh.
Well, Jesse loves you very much. We do too. You're an awesome mom.
Yeah, I was
Hi, Jesse's mom.
I just if this sends any messages, I just want it to be one of gratitude.
That's right.
And of love.
So thank you for calling in. I think we've got a couple other calls we want to get to.
No problem.
Right.
I bet if you mention who you are in any of the various places that you can connect with the community, that you're going to have some fun and reaffirming conversations. So.